Excellent. And now raise your glasses, please. It's the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club here on GMP TV. Good evening to you. And it's our winter warmer special, a little later than usual. We normally have our get together on the first Monday of the month, and for unforeseen circumstances, because of we were unable to do that this month early on in November. So here we are tonight. And a few of the regular faces will be here, lining up to be here in just a moment. What have you got this evening? Do let us know. Please tell us, what is your winter warming, well, your cockle-warming go-to winter warmer? It'd be lovely to find out more about you and what you like to drink at this time of year. That said, been a beautiful day in the Bay today. I was sweating as I sat having lunch with Andy Klein, our wonderful filmmaking friend Andy Klein in San Martino de Porto. So a lovely lunch with him. Very warm day here. Not very wintry this evening, it has to be said. However, we can anticipate things cooling down a little bit more in the next few weeks and months. Let's see what we're drinking as we face that. First up on the screen, Johnny Cocktail. Good evening to you, Johnny. How are you?
Perfect, Carl. Good to see you again.
Great to see you. Have you got into the winter warming spirit?
Absolutely. I am happy that the weather is a little cooler now, so I can dive back into the big red wines that I love.
The big reds. So they're a little bit of a clue about what you might be sharing with us tonight. Reds, yeah, full-bodied. Who doesn't like a full-bodied red of a I know I do, of a winter's evening, right? Stay where you are, Johnny. Let's bring Pete and Diana on as well. Good evening, folks. How are you?
Good. Very good. Yeah.
There's that's not really a clue. That's just a description, isn't it, of what you're drinking? A tequila and brandy hot toddy on the screen. Is that right?
That is it, indeed. Yeah. Or I have to admit, it does warm the cockles a bit. It's
yes. It sounds like your cockles are well and truly hot to the touch by now. Okay. All right. So we'll talk more about that. Have you got wine as well? Is that just your starter, your foreplay for the evening?
We've got loads of wine, but I think this will probably keep us going for quite a while, to be fair. Yeah. I think it's going to be a difficult one to get through. So we'll see.
Find out more about how you put that together. I suspect you just got a glass and some tequila and some brandy. But anyway, let's see if there was anything more to it than that. Stay where you are. Michael and Kat as well in Central Portugal. Good evening to you. How are you?
Hello, very well.
Oh, look at that. Michael, is that have you just come from the World Cheese Championships? Is that why?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
You hold on a minute. I'll zoom in on this big round of cheese here. Is that the winner?
No, this was. Oh God, I don't think you can afford the winner anymore now.
Oh, that's true. Bad news for the rest of us, right? Good news for them. Bad news for the rest of us.
This was a premier winner in 2023, and it's from Valley de Coa. You know where that is?
The Coa Valley, which is
the Coa Valley. It's right at the top of the Dow.
Yeah, the Coa River flows into the Douro.
Yes, I think I've crossed it, and there are those bike trails and eco-pistas and things going around there.
It's basically high desert.
Right. All right, high desert country of Portugal. All right, stay where you are as well. It looks like you've got a nice warm wintry scene there. Is that something warming on an amphora as well?
Yeah, this is I do this olive dish that's warm olives, and they're marinated in olive oil, Aleppo pepper, lemon, garlic, fennel seeds, and olive oil. And they just really, you eat them warm, and they're just fabulous taste.
You have a little warm.
Mr. Ambassador, and is there a tea light in the amphora keeping them warm? Is that
there's a couple of tea lights in there.
Very good. That's really a nice good. All right, stay where you are. Let's bring on co-founders Garbo and Linda. Let's go to Al Viagra now. Good evening. Casa Austin, how's it going there, you two?
We're digging in, ready for a little bit of a session.
digging in for a session. Let's see. That's quite nice, isn't it? Like that. There's a space there, a nice square space to be filled. If you'd like to join us, drop us a line if you will, and if you do want to pop in there and tell us about your cockle warmer. So the Austins, what have you got in this sort of wintry way that we're discussing tonight? Oh, that's no good for Diane, is it? Sorry about that, Diane. Sorry about that. I didn't notice. Right, go on, Linda.
Tonight we've got a nice port, a white port.
Right. Okay. That's an interesting idea. That didn't occur to me to go porty and the white one rather than the dark or that's the lightest of the ports, is it not?
Yes. Actually we passed this place on the river cruise up the Douro, to Cadao.
Right.
We've had their red wines, which are splendid. So we thought we'd give one of their ports a go.
Very good. Okay, I'm just trying different combinations here. That one works, doesn't it, without getting anyone's way there. So you took someone up the Dow and came back with a nice white.
My cockle's fully warmed.
Okay, with a nice white port in hand. Fantastic. Okay, let's hope it's not any port in a storm, but a fine one. And this is great because I think everybody's got something different this evening. Jacqueline Branco also watching us. What's your favourite winter warmer, Jacqueline? Do let us know in the chat if you will. Okay, so in order of appearance then on the screen, Johnny Cocktail, let's go to you and find out what's doing it for you. We had a bit of a clue with the big reds for winter time, right? Portuguese reds, presumably?
Of course.
Yeah, thank you.
And because you had back channeled it's something that you really love. Well, this is something I've already talked about, but thank you for the opportunity, the excuse to go and get it again and present it to the crowd, because I just loved the Ermelinda Reserva.
Oh, okay.
It brings it, the body, the composition, the flavors. It goes so well with so many things I like to eat. It's a featured wine, and that's how I learned about it. It's one of our favorite restaurants in Tavira, and it's very happy to have it in my glass.
Yeah, and a big favourite of the Austin household. You're a big fan, aren't you, Gary? Of Ermelinda?
That's a good, sexy wine, is that one? That's going to leave you feeling satisfied.
I think Johnny knows that feeling, and he's looking forward to experience it again this evening in the hands of Melinda. Anything else to say about it specifically, Johnny, on this one? How's it going down this evening?
Well, it went down great. I had a nice.
You're well into it, are you?
Oh yes, I had a nice warm stew for dinner. It was a great accompaniment and some of Kim's homemade sourdough cheese with green olive chunks in there, and sourdough bread with
I was going to ask you. Yes.
With the green olive chunks, and also a nice black truffle cheese on there. It was a great meal.
Very, very good. Can I just dwell on that for a moment then with sourdough in Portugal? Some people struggle with kombuchas and sourdoughs and things that take the things from the air, natural spores and funguses and so on, if that's the right way of describing it.
Yeast, yeah.
Natural yeast, that's right. So, but no problem for you. And
no,
Kim,
when we moved here about 13 months ago, we brought 2 small jars of starter from Kim's Kitchen in the States, and she's subsequently taken that and given it to many friends in our area. So now it has just spread horizontally throughout Tavira. Yeah.
Yes. So so there's a good sourdough circuit in Tavira now. That's great. And presumably the Lisbon airport are quite used to people bringing things in funny jars that they promise.
It was in a flight approved carry-on. Even it didn't take much, but we each had a small little container, and here we are. Because
it's microscopic, really. That's all you need, isn't it, to get things going? Of course.
Well, Kim is the magician that makes it happen. So she would. That'll be a different podcast.
That sounds fantastic. It really does. Making your own sourdough bread with the green olive chunks. Did you say in there?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can put in there, herbs and cheeses, and this had some chunked green olives that just delicious.
Very good. All right, we'll come back to you. We've got Mike and Karen joining us as well. Good evening, everyone. We are enjoying mulled wine. That's a good call as well, I think, on a winter evening, isn't it? A bit festive as well there. How, though? Have you bought one? Have you made one? What's to give us the backstory to that, if you will, Mike and Karen? And nice to see you're coming over to the Storytellers for lunch as well. I think that's next week, isn't it? The 27th. So perhaps see you there. Right, over to the Bleach household then. Tequila and brandy hot toddies. What's up? You feeling a bit under the weather?
Well, I have to say, two things you want to avoid in Portugal are constipação and a bad tosser, right? So both of those is great, and it means that we get a chance to use our mate's honey, which we've got tons of. So, good way of getting rid of that, and it's pretty good for what I think will be fairly cold and wet coming up. So we've had our St. Martin's summer, and now I think it's just a chance to have something that will clear off any sort of any constipation or any tossing. So
I think we should probably clarify on this because it could be a little bit misleading to those watching. A constipation, for the schoolboy gigglers among us, is like Pete and Gary. I see you, and Michael. Bye, Johnny. Yes, the women are like, oh, for God's sake, you idiots. Anyway, constipation. It's not constipation. When you go into a Portuguese pharmacist, is it, Pete? What is it for the other end? If we can help people this evening.
It is something weird. It's something farty, isn't it? I think
we did learn in the lesson.
It's literally I've got wind trapped in my belly.
It's a really nice turn of phrase, a bit like "May I make a party on your dog?" As in, can I pet your dog? That's right. There's a really good idiom about trapped wind and constipation, but maybe we should.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, it's wind trapped in your stomach. I think that's the way they call it. So
it's not Pete's constipation I'm worried about. It's that tosser he was on about.
That's not. And there's a great Wogan used to say, it's not the trap stuff you need to worry about, is it? That's safe and well if it's trapped. But yes, the tosser, Pete. What is a tosser here in Portugal?
A tosser's a cough, which is great, isn't it? So I've got a really, really nasty toss.
I can't shake off this bad tosser. Stop it now, for goodness sake. Right. All right. So I'm glad we've cleared that up more kind of.
But we're on tequila because I'm really not, even though we went to Scotland, I hate whiskey. I've got to admit, it's like the Scots are amazing at making people like things that they shouldn't like. So whiskey, for most whiskey for me is kind of like licking a wooden floor. Right?
Oh, Michael!
And the Scots have still managed to kind of have managed to convince people that it's the right thing to do and that it's a great thing to kind of sell. But no, for me, I think we're much better off with our Spanish counterparts and
We'll sleep well.
Yeah, definitely. And it just tastes better.
A minute, because there was wincing. There was communal wincing there when you said you didn't just say you didn't like whiskey. You said you hated it. And then you blamed Scottish marketing skills with creating things and like kind of convincing people to like things they don't like presumably deep fried Mars bars and Bay City rollers.
Haggis, yeah, haggis is a brilliant example, isn't it? Haggis is absolutely vile, right? And doesn't matter if you get it in a tin or.
Michael's going to have to step in. And Michael's not taking this. Can we have a defense of Scottish culture, please, Michael? Are you going to step in and do that? Let's see if you can.
I'm just thinking about the black pudding I had for breakfast this morning. You probably don't like that either.
I like black pudding; it's lovely, and Portugal is lovely. But haggis is just literally, it's a bit like bacalhau. It's something, the contents of a floor wrapped in a stomach. Really, is what the way I figure it. So it's kind of anything you swept up that will kind of go in there. So I'm not a huge fan of haggis, I have to admit. But black puddings here are great, and in Scotland they're really good. But
so you definitely upset the Scots. Kind of upset the Portuguese. Kind of, you redeemed it with the sausage, but casually trashed bacalhau along the way there.
Bacalhau! Oh, it's a mystery to me, honestly. It is, but it's not as much of a mystery because I discovered that Salazar thought that everyone posh ate bacalhau, so he thought that basically everyone should have bacalhau because it was that he was giving the masses what the rich had, and that's why we've got a bloody bacalhau factory in the middle of Portugal, nowhere near the sea, just up the hill from us here, which is
Serves you
bizarre.
right. Serves you right, Pete.
Bizarre. But there you
It's
go.
karma. It's cultural karma that you've got there. Oh, by the way, does anyone need to buy any Bitcoin or whatever this is? I think there's a live streaming channel where you can throw good money after bad money after bad there. Thanks, Isa Sikuru. I wonder if Isa Sikuru, can you let us, if you can tell us who Satoshi is, you can stay on. Otherwise, we're probably going to ban you if you carry on with that sort of behavior. Right. But Bitcoin is doing rather well at the moment, isn't it? But Pete, I know you'd add Bitcoin to bacalhau and haggis, aren't you? I think.
No, I did run out of Bitcoin before, but the problem is getting the money into money, because essentially you don't want Bitcoin, you want to have it back in money. And if you're doing anything over, say, 50k, you have to provide like a mountain of evidence of where you got the money from, which is difficult for most of the drug dealers or people that essentially made Bitcoin before, but it's also difficult for us. So I just think it's tricky to get your money out, and there are better things to invest in. Trump's come to power. Prisons, the prison
investment advice tonight. Where's this going?
Well, prison shares have gone up 70% since in like the 2 days that Trump got into power. There are obvious things that you can invest in, aren't there? Really, seeing as Trump's got in, there's loads of other things. Prisons.
Are these the prisons that are being built by Democrats to put Trump in?
No, it's ones that Trump's building. But I would imagine orange dye would go up quite a lot as well. You've got all sorts of there's some drone. Yeah, drones will probably go up in value as well, I should imagine. There's all sorts of things that will go up.
Follow Pete's Instagram for more investment advice of that kind. I am now distancing myself off quite hastily. Right, thank you very much. So, but tequila is not Mexican whiskey, is it?
Well, you can use dark rum, I suppose, in theory. Yeah. You can use anything you want. To be honest, I think Gary's got the right idea. I think with port it might be really nice as well.
Yes.
So port toddy sounds really good. And I agree with Johnny as well. The red wines here are amazing. Yeah. So we never used to drink red wine, and now I have to admit, thanks partly to the wine show.
Quite a lot last night.
But also just the fact that red wine here is brilliant. That's all. So
very good. So you just went for something strong to kill the bugs, basically, and to warm
something strong that didn't taste of a wooden floor. That was the idea of doing it.
I've done radio shows in the past for people who think they hate jazz, and by the end of it, it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. I do like jazz. I see what you mean. Do you think we can do this with Pete and whiskey, Johnny and Michael? Do you think you can bring someone round who thinks they don't like whiskey? Yeah,
I think it might be easier with the bacalhau than it will be. With whiskey, because whiskey really is an acquired taste.
Baby steps. Okay.
But you can make bacalhau into it taste like anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I can make all kinds of whiskey cocktails. So we're not going to drink it straight. I know better than to give that to Pete. We're going to make a nice cocktail.
Yeah. Okay. You did wince. I saw your reaction, Johnny, when he said, "Oh, I hate whiskey." It was like, "Oh."
It's because he hasn't had mine.
Exactly. There you go. That's a lovely promise right there. Good evening to you, Leela, as well. Good evening, Portugal. And the mulled wine in Miranda, the Miranda mulled wine tonight is made by Karen. Portuguese red wine with added apple cider, orange zest, honey, star anise. Oh, this is great. Cinnamon stick. This is what you guys need with a cold. Green cardamom, probably some turmeric in there, and some macieira as well, to give it that nice little edge. That's going to be lovely, isn't it? Shame it's going to get boiled and the power of that macieira is going to be evaporated onto your kitchen ceiling possibly, but I don't know how high temperature you're taking that to, but that sounds lovely. Thank you for sharing that with us. Right, let's go to the Whitby household, because we want a bit of backstory on this cheese festival. Did you actually get there and go to it and be in that room with all those cheeses?
Yes.
OMG. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We on Friday night we booked to do a guided tour of the cheese tables. Otherwise, you're not allowed on that floor. You know the photograph you saw of the floor with all the tables, the 80-something tables.
Oh, really? Right. Okay.
So you're not allowed on that floor without a guide. So we booked, on Hugh's recommendation, we booked an 11 o'clock guided tour
for Sunday.
And So we got there, well, early in the morning. We're just getting ready to leave here about 8 o'clock in the morning because it's a couple of hours drive for us. I got a notice on my computer to say that that system is not working anymore. If there's a problem, contact the owner of the system, which was the booking thing. So we get there, and at 10:30, they've cancelled every booking for the day.
Because the British
all
judges,
the British, go ahead,
all the British judges went home.
As a protest.
Probably in protest of the fact that all of the British cheeses didn't make it out of customs. So they were not in the competition. And so the people who were giving the guided tours were the judges. So the British judges all went home. So there weren't enough judges left to do the number of guided tours that needed to be done. So they just canceled them all. So we never got onto the cheese floor, if you will. But there were a vendor's tent outside that had lots of great cheese in it.
And wine.
And wine and condiments and tourist information of the various areas. So that was really useful for us. So we got to sample a lot of cheeses and bought some.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, though, just to hang around in the controversy there for a moment. So there was presumably a we can't avoid saying it, can we? A Brexit-related debacle in getting the cheese.
It's all happening, isn't it?
All right, easy, Pete, easy. I'm sure Garbo might want to add to this. I might as well. But
so apparently, they have throughout the world. This World Cheese Organization has drop-off areas,
which is British based. Yeah.
But they have drop-off areas all over the world, so that small cheese producers can get their product to, say, the airport in Mozambique, for instance, and there were cheeses from Mozambique, and somebody can get their cheese to that point, and they all get assembled and shipped to the country. The World Cheese thing does this, and they have an agreement with the governments of all the places they go to that these things can come in without passing through customs and farm controls and all the other shit that they have to do.
It's like diplomatic immunity for cheese.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is. And they do it in all the countries they go to. But this time, the cheeses for Brazil, Chile, Tanzania, somewhere else in South Africa, all got through, but the British ones somehow got left in the customs house.
Fix.
And there were 257 cheeses.
Boo!
Yeah, 247 cheeses.
Yeah.
See,
so
my
it's a real stink.
Oh, very good. Hold on. Thank you, Mike. All of that just for that, right?
Yeah, and they believe it's very much a Brexit thing. It's happened to them once before when they had it in somewhere else in Europe, and the British cheeses never got in. So
I think it's a sour grapes thing to mix.
Yeah, or sourdough maybe.
Sourdough. I mean, can you imagine if there was a French guy in charge of whether the British cheeses could come through into Portugal?
Yeah.
There would have been a glint in his eye, wouldn't there, as he put his boot onto the container. You say there are 247 British cheeses in here going to the World Championship? I cannot let it through, mon ami.
We don't want the filthy fromage from the British ear.
And anyway, I hear you only have one cheese. Why are there 246 others here? Yeah. Right. Oh, there's some celebrities.
What was odd, there was a small a cheese shop, British cheese shop showed up, and they imported a whole bunch of cheeses. They brought 3 different cheeses themselves for selling. They took a vendor's stall, and they brought a whole bunch of them in. They must have paid duty and everything on it. Brought it all in, and we managed to get about a 1.5 pound block of Stilton yesterday from a really great Stilton house for €10.
Nice one.
Result.
Yeah. It is absolutely beautiful.
We're ready for Christmas now.
Ready for Christmas now. That's it.
Wow.
Sounds really good. Yeah. What was your favourite cheese there? Because that sounds really interesting. Of all the ones you bought, what really stood out to you?
Well, actually, one of our favourite Portuguese cheeses is the Amontillado like this.
Yeah.
Do you know what Amontillados are, Pete?
Yeah.
Is it like the next stage after butter? No, we need to know, because I think some of our viewers might not know what that is.
Well, Amontillado is a very, you'll see them in the stores because they have to have this cheesecloth wrapping around them.
All right, let me zoom in so we can get a little guide to this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Put your hand off it, Mike. There's
the cheese.
the cheese.
They're
ball.
yummy for breakfast, aren't they?
They have to have that, and then to use the cheese, you slice the top off. You just peel the top out, and you actually spoon it out. This one is not quite soft yet, but it's getting there. It's getting sticky, and you just work it from the middle. You never put it in the fridge. Just put something over it.
Like making love to a beautiful woman.
Exactly. They get softer as they get older. No, that's not a good thing to say, is it?
Right, okay.
Oops.
Yes.
Anyway,
Whip the top off and work it from the middle. Yes.
That's
okay,
probably one of our favorite cheeses, the Amontillado.
Right.
Just because the flavors are so intense. I mean, we like some of the nice small duros, the sheep smoke ones.
The Corrados.
The Corrados. And they're great when you're sitting in a bar and something, but you know, to have a cheese, we almost always have one of these on the table for breakfast, and Catherine's homemade sourdough whole wheat bread.
Sourdough mania, isn't it?
It is sourdough mania.
Yeah.
So I've got a Saya cheese, which is in the same sort of family, isn't it? I nearly went for the Azeitona one from over Setúbal way, which would have gone nicely with the Ermelinda. But this is the Saya. It has the gauze around the outside, and it has that. You know, you can take the top off and work it from the middle, as you say there, Michael. But Amontillado, is that how you pronounce it?
Amontillado, which means butter-like.
Yes, right. The manteiga, there's a butter kind of derivative in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
So it's almost buttery texture, or maybe when you've allowed butter to cure and go off and ferment, this is what happens.
Oh,
and it's kept in that texture.
It has a lovely sharp, a sharp aftertaste. And
generally,
some of them, the good ones are.
Yeah.
There's one you see a lot of, Sierra, and
the Estrella.
no, the Sierra one.
Okay.
The
Sierra, isn't it? That's what I've heard.
Sierra.
SCIA.
A bit milder, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's okay, but it never gets. We've never had one yet that gets the real flavor of the Highland one.
So there are a bunch of Amontillado is more of a style of cheese, and depending on the maker and depending on what animal's milk they used, or if it's a combination, that will determine what the flavor is. So if you want to get a nice one, go to your local cheese person and ask them which of their Amontillados is the best one.
Very good. Okay, so it's
and
a
you'll
style.
probably get one from Terra Estrella.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is back to the World Cheese Award. So we're lucky to have had this year. It goes all around the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really great.
I think it's sort of biannual. This is the 24-25. So presumably there's another one 26-27. We'll have to wait.
Yeah, and that's going to be in Switzerland.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And they've got, this woman is the Portuguese presenter in the middle. She looks like she's from Portuguese TV. And then you've got a couple of British celebrities, I think, who've been hired by the Good Food Guide or whatever that company is. There's an umbrella company, isn't there, that does that really nice badge that goes on good foods. It's gold and black, isn't it? I think it's that company, isn't it? And
he was stealing cheese yesterday.
Who is that guy? Is he a British TV personality?
We don't know. Hugh knows him, though, because Hugh was hanging over the balcony. I was looking at all the tables, and I said, what happens to all these cheeses? You know, there's nearly 5,000 cheeses on these tables. He said they all get put in the dumpster and destroyed.
No, that's criminal.
Yeah, every single, and there were cheeses this big around.
Yeah.
They were massive cheeses. Some of them still sealed in their bags and everything.
That's not right.
And he said they all get destroyed.
We have a local winner here, like we're literally a neighbouring village, Soliera, which I can never pronounce, won a gold medal at the Cheese Awards. And I know last year, if they'd had the same awards, it would have failed because all the milk that went to the cheese was off. So they were quite fortunate to have the Cheese Awards this year rather than last, because last year it was terrible. But this year, they weren't so bad. But it's really interesting because I think without having some of the British cheddars there, it doesn't seem like a very fair competition, to be honest.
Well said, Peter. Well said.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
Because
some
some
of
of the
the cheddars are,
Let's watch. Can we watch the finishing moments here? And this is where the Portuguese company, cheesemaker, got the prize here.
Queijo soalheira, Quinta Pomar. Estamos a falar de um queijo português.
The winner is from Portugal. Sonia Maroio.
Sonia Maroio. Não consigo acreditar nisto.
Portuguese winner.
The Portuguese winner.
Very good. Congratulations.
It was fun.
Wasn't that great? Very, very
that
good.
was mispronounced as well. It's bloody impossible to pronounce that name. It's like swallowing marbles. It's really horrible.
And they're Guarda based, aren't they? That company, I think.
Well, Soliera is here. It's in Fundão, so it's yeah. It's literally you say it's literally just down the road from us. So
very good. Well done, Fundão. Okay, Heaven also here. This is a little bit cryptic for us. We still alive, as we believe old wine. A time before creates today, and today will create tomorrow. That could be Kamala Harris talking to us, right? Sounds like a Kamala Harris speech.
Wine.
I think creates today, and today will create tomorrow.
I think somebody's been having too much wine by the look of it.
Heaven, what do you think? And Karen said that the mixture is just about warmed. Okay, good, glad to hear it. And the Maciera is mixed once removed from the heat. So very good. The Maciera has been spared and saved there. Thank you for that report from the World Cheese Awards. It sounded like a really great thing to catch because we're not going to see it here for a long time, are we?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering if there was an entrance from Belmont up there, because that could have really
that would go in any trainers or shoes, wouldn't it? I think that's where Belmont exports its cheese, just for
it's a thin line. It's a thin line. Michael, what have you got there? Tell us what you're eating.
I'm with the port crew tonight.
Oh, very good. Okay, Popkey, very good, excellent. Yeah, nice.
And just to finish it off, at the end of the evening, we'll have the other cocktail.
What's that? Is that their aguardente? Okay, very nice.
Nice.
That's a fine-looking bottle as well, isn't it?
Yeah, this is actually better than the Maria's that we really like. This is incredible. I mean, this is as good as the best brandy you can buy.
Right.
Yeah. And Kopka, I'm sure everybody knows anyway. Kopka is the the oldest producer of port in the country. And it's still the same business. The family sold it in the 70s, but they still are in the same farms and the same buildings everywhere. And the oldest one they've got is about 164-year-old one. Their stuff sells out so fast they can't keep it in. When they release the 100-year-old ports, they're gone. I mean, we were up at the bodega, up at the winery, and they had 2 bottles of 1870, and they were 800 euros each. And when we got down to Porto and went in their shop, they had 1 bottle, and the lady said, "Yes, there's only 3 bottles of this left," so they know what they've got. It's amazing, but it's great.
The branding is beautiful, isn't it? It's a really iconic Portuguese thing, that Kopka label.
Lovely.
Yeah, superb. So how's it tasting? Take us through it, if you will.
Well, this is a 10-year-old Tony. I don't know if you know, but this actually is a 10-year-old port. However, when you buy a port that says it's 50 years old or 40 years old, actually what it means is that the oldest port in there, or the majority of the port,
it's a blend,
is that 40 years old. But there could be port there that's 50 years old or 20 years old or even 5, because they blend for the same flavor all the time. And they're allowed to actually blend new ports with old and still come up with a port that they say is a 40-year-old port. So this one, they say it's a 10-year-old port. If it was a reserva, it would be a genuine 10-year wine. That's it. For a 10-year-old Tony, means there could be a port in here that's only 3 years old.
Okay, that's a bit cheeky, isn't it? Sounds a bit cheeky, that, to me, but I guess it's good to know that. You know what you're doing.
That's the rule. So,
because you only need 15% extra virgin to call it extra virgin olive oil. It's very weird.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the shops.
Yeah, in the shops, you only need 15% of what we produce to call it extra virgin. You can shove it full of any other old crap, and it's fine. Basically, anything that they mush out of the anything we chuck away, and they mush out the cold press, they'll press again, and then chuck it in. So, yeah.
Is that throughout the whole of the EU, or is it just Portugal?
It's EU, whole of the EU. So,
in the EU, that would be.
Yeah,
wow.
It's not EU. I think it also goes to the UK and the States as well. So it's just what all they need for extra virgin olive oil.
Well, there's a Brexit benefit then. All the British olive oil producers can do what they want now, can't they?
But none of them.
All of them. Yes, both of them. Well, none of them. Right, very good. So that's going down well, is it, with your cheese there? The cocktail.
This is really smooth. It's got like honey on the back of the tongue. It just sticks on the edge.
Oh, sounds good. Nice description.
It's a great thing to have on a cool night. It's not cool enough out there tonight, though.
No.
It's only 13 degrees.
When you wish the weather was colder to suit what you're drinking.
Yeah,
Very good.
because it's a really nice cold weather drinking drinks. So
Very good. Good evening, Sky of the Shires, and OLP is here. Looks so fun.
Wow.
Happy holidays, everyone. Very nice. Working our way towards Thanksgiving, I think, as well as the festive period. Right. Casa Austin, how's it going there?
It's going pretty well, but looks. I think very nearly half a bottle has been consumed already.
Very nice. Linda, are you into the second glass? Are you a port fan?
Third.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Tell us a little bit about it then, and this particular brand here in Portugal.
Do you want?
No, please.
I didn't look up on the internet about this wine.
Well, I
can tell you what I think about the taste.
Well, that's what we're interested in.
Yeah.
It's quite a sort of like dark colour for a white port. It's sort of quite yellow. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we're zooming in.
Like overnight urine colour.
Yes, beautifully put.
And it is sweet, but it's not overly sweet. It's sort of like we have had tawny ports which are quite sweet. This is not as sweet as a tawny. It's got a nice flavour. It's quite fruity. Yeah,
that's a very good synopsis. I think.
Very good. Thank you.
The thing with red port is, I mean, it's delicious and it's sweet, but sometimes it can be too sweet and overpowering.
Yeah.
This is because we've probably done that much already. It's not overpowering. It's very fresh. There's a element of citrus in it, but it's also got that nice honeyed sweetness and a bit like that marmalade-y taste to it. Yeah. So it's a nice balance. It really is quite a very nice port.
Yeah, very pleasant.
And what is the brand there? Tell us a bit about the maker, if you can, there, Gary.
Cadau is up there in the Douro towards up the higher bit.
Yeah.
And we passed this place on the boat trip up there. We passed the signage on the side of the hill. I think it's grown. This was on schist, purely schist. And obviously they seem to know what they're doing because their red wines are fabulous, and that's nice too. So yeah, I like it. It's a good one.
Very good. Okay, enjoying that. And what are you eating with it?
Oh, we've eaten that as well. That's gone. We had some cold meats, some cheeses,
yeah,
a few crackers. It goes perfectly well with it. A really nice little
So a nice wintry evening. So how cool is it now in central Portugal? What are your evenings like?
It's been really quite cold the past few days, but like Michael said, suddenly we've had a warm spike.
Yeah, it's lots of cold tonight.
I'm here in my t-shirt. Yesterday I was sitting here in my bloody cardigan.
Cardigan on. Portugal is a land in earth. It so is. And Michael Bliss, good evening to you, Michael. Having a nice Lisbon red as I watch you folks and edit videos. Yeah, cut us into some of those videos. We can all raise our glasses at a certain point if you want to splice us into one of your fantastic videos. If you haven't checked out the Bliss's videos, they really are very superb. They are one of the American couples that does have a YouTube channel. It was really weird. I was saying on the breakfast show this morning, I actually met an American couple who haven't got a YouTube channel.
Oh, Lord, that's
What?
rare.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Okay. Right. We were inspired this evening, I have to say, by this particular review of Buckfast Tonic, which caused me to think of. I'd like to read this to you, if I may. I think it's okay to do so. But this is what gave me the idea of winter warmers. And I think everyone's met the task very nicely. Oh, by the way, somebody said Cartusia, and I bought, this is their budget bottle, I think.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's really, really nice. It's a good call. Got the Alentejo red, got the Saya cheese. It's going down very nicely here.
You taste the black one, it's like a different wine entirely. It's just amazing.
Is it? Yeah. Something nice, a bit like Kopke. There's something nice and really distinctive about their packaging as well, isn't there? The eyelash. I don't know if that is an eyelash. It kind of looks like it, doesn't it?
Kind of looks like it. It's kind of a modern label, and I always passed by it. I didn't really realize it's made by Cartusia. If I'd known that, I probably would have bought it earlier just to try it.
Yeah.
But the label looks so sort of kitschy and new. I don't know.
Does that put you off? Because I can understand that, because it looks like they're trying to grab your attention with the graphics rather than letting the wine speak for itself.
Yeah, but it turns out it's not. It's great wine. I've tried both. We've tried both the blue and the black, and the reserve is just amazing. And
the classic Cartusia with a kind of mustardy coloured label, that's a proper wine label, isn't it? The one that's about 20 euros or something. That's a really nice one.
Well, you can get one of theirs. I've forgotten which one it is. It's like 2022, I think we bought. And it was like 15 euros. We wanted to see what it was like compared to the others. It is amazing wine.
Yeah. Good to know. Thank you very much, Michael, on that. So this, the inspirational tasting notes then, this is WTF, and you all know what that is. WTF in the meme is this. An American wine connoisseur made the mistake of reviewing Buckfast. Here's their tasting notes. Who's tasted Buckfast Tonic here this evening? Yes, Gary, I thought you might have done. Yes, I live near there in Devon. It's comes from Buckfast Abbey, and it's made by monks. And there is reference to that. You might expect something a little more wholesome from the brothers. But it's also known, going back to Scotland, it's also known as Wreck the Hoose Juice up there. It is. That's what they call it up there in Glasgow, I think. Buckfast Tonic, or Buckfast Tonic wine, no vintage in brackets. They should have known at that point, shouldn't they? Screwcap took it off about 30 minutes before to bring in some air, apparently made by monks in England. So I guess as an American wine connoisseur, you might think that's a good start. I like this, I like in the backstory, English monks in their habits there, contemplative lifestyle, making lovely wine in the Devon countryside. And I think it's actually made in an industrial estate just outside the M25. And I don't know if it ever sees a monk. But anyway, poured into a glass. First glance has a very inky, almost brownish color that you see in older wines. Very syrupy. Liquid clings to the side of the glass when swirled. It has legs, almost 15% ABV. Stuck my nose in and was hit with something I've never experienced before. Barnyardy funk in a bad way, almost like a dead animal in a bird's nest. A mix of flat Coca-Cola and caramel with a whiff of gunmetal. On the palate, overwhelming sweetness and sugar. Cherry cola mixed with Benadryl, unlike anything I've tasted. I'm not sure what this liquid is, but it is not wine. And that's another thing, isn't it? That's another Brexit victory. That can still be called wine, I suspect, because it's not in the EU anymore. So where were we? I'm actually not sure what it is, but tastes like something a doctor would prescribe. A chemical concoction of the highest degree. Can only compare it to a Four Loko. I don't know what that is. Managed to make it through a couple of small glasses, but not much more. Has absolutely ruined the evening drinking-wise for me, because I tried to drink a nice Bordeaux after, but the iron-like metallic sweet aftertaste I couldn't get out of my mouth, even after a few glasses of water. I don't drink a lot of coffee regularly, so I also have mild heart palpitations from the caffeine after just drinking a bit of this, and I feel a slight migraine. It's not going well so far. An ungodly concoction made by seemingly godly men. I believe the Vatican needs to send an exorcist. They're actually Anglicans, to be fair to them. They are not Catholics. High Anglican, I believe. To send an exorcist over to Buckfast Abbey, as the devil's works are clearly present there. After tasting this wine, in inverted commas, the way I feel can only be described as akin to being under a bridge. Oh no, I'm not going to read this next bit. While simultaneously drinking liquid meth through a dirty rag. I've drunk a lot of wines in my life, and I will never forget this one. Not a fan, I think it's safe to say. What are your memories, Gary?
Well, do you remember, I don't know if you've cast your mind back, there used to be a tonic wine called Sonatogen.
Yes.
And that was a bit peculiar tasting. Very iron-like, very...
Yeah, it got a lot of iron in it.
A really weird taste. So if you imagine that being mixed with some sort of cough medicine and a bit Jägermeister-y sort of...
yes,
herbal,
Jägermeister too, yes.
Thick, not really a wine, really, some sort of concoction potion to make you better, apparently. But yeah, I remember it very much so. Not really a wine, more of a liqueur sort of...
A speciality, top
It's
shelf.
the kind of tenant super of wines, isn't it?
It is a very description, Pete. Yes, tenant super. Rector Who's Stews, tenant super, or tenant's extra of the wine world. Yes, absolutely. And I don't know how those high Anglican monks can associate themselves with it, but I guess it's probably very profitable with the Scottish export market. Heaven, I think you might have been drinking some Buckfast tonic, actually, if you don't mind me saying so. I'm not sure what you mean this evening with your many messages, but thank you for being here nonetheless. What are you going into now, Pete?
We have got a Reserva Torre de Ferro. I don't know. It looks all right. It's a Dow. Doesn't look
okay. All right. Sounded like it was from across the border there, Mr. Bleach. But no, that's a Portuguese. Okay, a Dow.
Wouldn't get anything that isn't Portuguese.
Okay, very good. Excellent.
Anything from the Dow can't be bad.
Well, you say that's recent for us, isn't it, Gary? The Dow was also a little bit of a problem child. Always a problem child.
It still is, because you've got to have a Dow that's reasonably old. Nice. Otherwise, you don't get the full experience.
Okay, well said. Yeah, I saw one called Dharma that I was tempted to get tonight inside the supermarket. But yeah, right. And the Cheese Awards did Viseu proud, I think. Obviously, the capital of the Dow area, the Viseu, isn't it? Do you think it was a good event to have there for Viseu, putting Portugal on the map as well? Would it have done it justice?
Yeah. No, it was fantastic. Viseu would show incredibly well. We'd never been there before.
Right.
It's a really nice city.
Spent any time there.
And they've got the best roundabouts in the universe.
Really? Say more.
Blimey.
God, they're like 4 lane. You go in with 2 lanes, and you're in the roundabout with 4 lanes. Yeah. And you come out with 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're just amazing. And
Michael's a civil engineer. The things he finds interesting.
But in saying that, Portuguese roundabouts are the most dangerous places on earth, because the one thing you're guaranteed to do on a Portuguese roundabout is no one will ever stop. Even if you're halfway around the roundabout and they're approaching, they'll plough straight on. I've never known drivers like it. They're all right. Everything else, but roundabouts, they are.
I agree with you there, Pete. If they went into it in the right lane to start with, it would be okay as long as they followed the rules.
It's about eye contact, guys. It's about eye contact. It's a collaborative thing. It's like ice skating. Now, if you take a British approach to like an Englishman's roundabout lane is his castle, that is a bad start, because you can't be like that on a Portuguese roundabout. Like, this is my lane. I'm in the right lane. If you crash into me, it's going to be your fault. That just doesn't work in Portugal. You have to establish eye contact with the person who's approaching the roundabout in front of you at about 80 kilometers per hour. And work out a way of both going into the roundabout together, maybe allowing them to go in front of you, maybe at the last minute they pull in behind you. But it's all about teamwork. It's not about every man for himself. You've got to connect. What do you think, Gary? You must have experienced it.
I think that you've got to make eye contact, but also be careful you don't run over the cyclist in front of you while you're making eye contact with each other.
Yes, there is that, isn't it? Or the 2 cyclists side by side on the roundabout.
I quite like it because you're guaranteed they'll go. There's no way that any Portuguese person, even if they're in a Matavelhos and they're going at like 20 miles an hour, they're still going to go.
I'm coming through.
Exactly.
And the little sort of procession of those electric scooter people coming through as well. They're on the roundabout, aren't they? Coming off the dual carriageway onto the roundabout. Yeah, good times.
But they're well kept, aren't they? Roundabouts in Portugal are the most well kept I've ever seen. They've always got something really cool in the middle. They're always really beautifully sort of maintained. In England, you could murder someone, put them in the middle of a roundabout, and no one would discover it for about a century.
Actually, that happened in real life in I think it was in Birmingham. Some old, I think it was an old transport. Yeah, he went into the middle of the undergrowth and stayed there for a couple of weeks and was never found until the effervescent smell started to drift across the land.
I'm surprised they could figure out the smell in Birmingham, but there we go.
Oh, this cold. Do you know, having a cold has made Pete even ruder than normal, isn't it? I think possibly. The congestion is adding to the
tequila.
Yeah, it's adding to the edge. Right. Let's have some concluding thoughts then, if we may, on each of our respective brews. Let's go around the clock face as I see it anyway. Pete and Diane, then, how would you rate your tequila and brandy hot toddies? You've got a new entry there with the red wine. Has it done the job, Diane?
It's warming.
Yeah, it was really good. It's nice because we had our own limes and we had honey from our friends. So I think it's still Portuguese. So it's still kind of even if it is tequila and stuff. At least the other products are all Portuguese.
Nice. This is really smooth.
Yeah, it's nice actually.
And that's been the warm up for you to have a bottle of red now.
Johnny's convinced us, basically. I think Johnny's won us over. I think the reds here are so good that in the winter there isn't really much option.
We've got the same one.
You might as well have them because they're brilliant.
Well, Johnny's been influential, has he, in your red wine choices in life?
I think so. Yeah, I think as much of a tosser as I am, I think the red wine's more of a cure than the toddy, to be honest. So
you've ruined my joke because I was going to say, Diane, good luck with the tosser, and I hope your coffee is good as well.
Say it.
You're right. Very good, Peter, Diane. Thank you very much, Gary and Linda. Very happy it would appear with the white port tonight.
I could keep drinking this, all night, and I dare say there was more than two of us here that you're probably gone by now. But looking at it, it's 19, nearly 20%. So that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
No, not a good idea.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, don't get drunk on port. It's the most awfulest of hangovers. But yeah, lovely. Nice.
You've spoken of this before, yeah. It's the ruin of many a man, isn't it? In Porto, having a weekend away there.
It does. I think I could liken having a port hangover to having an elephant sitting on your head and waiting for your eyeballs to burst.
Nice. Very good. Okay. Sounds like you wrote that Buckfast Abbey review there.
Yeah, probably like that.
Very good. And how much does it cost? Can I be at gross?
I can't remember. It's not very much. I think it's around the 10, 12 euro mark.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Glad to have made your acquaintance. Can you just hold it up one more time? The Cadal Porto there. Good to have met you this evening. Thank you for being here. White Port Cadal Porto right there. Okay. Just Porto. I will just say Cartuja EA, the cheapie, $5.99, which I think probably is a fairly good value in terms of the Cartuja range. A great Alentejo red. Really nice. It tasted good straight out of the bottle. It was a little bit bold without any air to it, but it's mellowing nicely now, going very nice with this my Ceia cheese here, which I think is a Portuguese classic. The branded one. That's a nice thing about Portuguese supermarkets. They have their branded version of all the popular cheeses, all the big ones, I think. And Intermarché, the Porzi range has done me proud tonight. So this is a lovely combo with a bit of their brown bread as well from Intermarché, freshly baked in store this evening. No sourdough for me, unfortunately, this evening, but very nice with local. They weren't funguses. What were they called? Yeasts. I imagine it picked up a little bit of local yeast on the way home. So all good from my point of view. $5.99, between 4 and 5 stars for this. You're not going to go wrong. I think, as you say, Michael, any Cartuja. Oh, you got one there as well. Do you like that one?
That wine you can't ignore because as it's sitting on the shelf, it's saying to you, "Hey."
Yeah.
Oh, it's $2.99 in Lidl at the moment. Come here.
And it's fluttering its eyelash at you as well. It's very, very.
It's really nice.
$2.99 in Lidl at the moment. There you go. There's a GMP Wine Club tip.
Yeah, that's amazing for a bottle of wine of that quality.
Yeah, very good. £2.99.
Yeah.
Excellent. Get to Lidl. And have they got some sort of cultural special on this week? Which country are they in, or is that Aldi that does that?
Oh no, it does. They have got a cultural special. I think it's Germany at the moment, but there we go. But they still haven't got the sausages I wanted in, so we'll have to return quickly and see if they have any more in offer.
Hey, isn't it German Cultural Week every week in Lidl? That's the whole point of Lidl, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
We get some Lidl, don't we?
Lidl's great. Arshen's even better.
Yes.
But I still think most of the time you can't. Even wines between €2 and €3 in Portugal are great. There's some smashing wines, and unfortunately enough, this year I think we should do all we can to support wine growers because it's been a terrible year. The harvest this year has been awful for virtually everyone we know because they've had such massive temperature changes in the mornings. You've had from like freezing to 10 degrees to 15 degrees. It's back to freezing. Right? It's completely decimated most of the people's crops that we know.
Joe said his was really, really bad.
Most people we know have only produced about 20 or 30% of what they produced last year. So it's a really terrible year in terms of getting grapes because they basically drop off if you have massive temperature changes. So it will shed all the
we had
grapes.
Rain at the wrong time.
Yeah, rain at the wrong time again. It's a tricky thing to grow, definitely. So yeah, we need to do everything we can to support Portuguese wine growers, I think.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, okay. Could you just promise to do that now? If you could just raise your hand, if you can be in solidarity with the Portuguese.
I swear by Almighty God on this table.
We'll do our best. Come on, Johnny. You know you want to. Right, over to you now, Johnny. The Ermelinda, tell us a bit more about that and how you've enjoyed that this evening, if you will.
Oh, I enjoy this evening as I do every time I have it. The problem being that there are so many terrific wines to try here that there can be an interval that I'm not having the Ermelinda Reserva. I've got several of the other Ermelindas in my house. They're all delicious, but the Reserva really hits that sweet spot. And every time I have it, I'm wondering, why am I not having this more often? Because it is so delicious. But then it just, I need to try more wines. And that EA that you've been holding up, I've seen in my Lidl, it's a 6-minute walk from here, but I thought it looked like a budget label. Is it going to be a budget wine? So I just walked past it.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, I'm walking to it. And so I think that just is another example of there's so many delicious wines to taste here that you kind of forget about your favorites. And then when you have them again, you're reminded why they are your favorite. So I'm sticking with it. I endorse it entirely, and I can't wait to have it again.
Very good, Johnny. Anything we need to know about the cocktail world and your involvement in it at the moment?
Well, I'll try to keep it brief. I'm been doing more and more posts to my Instagram. I think I'll be releasing my first reel coming up. That'll go also into YouTube, and then getting closer to. I learned from you, Carl. I can't let perfection stand in the way of production. So where I had.
I've never had that problem. Never had that problem.
No, yeah, and but look where you are now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So instead of this grand sequence of events that I had laid out as I tend to do on a spreadsheet, I'm just going to start biting it in chunks and delivering it.
Well done, mate. That sounds great. Sounds really good. And while I'm reminded of you and cocktails and the first night you tried Beirão in that wonderful cocktail bar in San Martino de Porto, I would like to just do a quick ad because this is the next event that I want to do. It's in February of next year. It's the weekend. I guess it's Valentine's weekend, really. And I just thought, what would be great right now is just to have some fun with all that's been going on. I think we're going to be going into, for all sorts of reasons, we're going to be going into quite a bonkers year next year. And it's going to be really important to have a good time and remember what's really important in life, which I think is karaoke, disco, and drinking and having fun together. So everyone is cordially invited to this. There we go. 15th, karaoke. We're going to have Terence Austin is booked. Some of you may have seen and not recovered from his topless dancing in Tales of the Unexpected Style. He'll be doing that and encouraging people onto the dance floor whilst doing that. Colin Ross Jones is booked with a few gags as well. He's going to be dressed up in a 70s comedian style, dinner jacket, fluffy shirt, big bow tie, maybe a velvet suit. It's going to be like a 70s dinner dance for those of you who remember that sort of stuff in the 1970s in the UK, which I used to hate at the time. And I used to think there are so many problems in the world. Why are people reveling and enjoying themselves here? It's disgusting when I was a little lefty. And now I'm thinking there's a lot of problems in the world. We need to have a disco and, and go and dance and get together and have some fun. So, Gary, you're unmuting for that.
It's going to go on how bourgeoisie you've gone and,
yes!
completely.
Yeah, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Arguably, it's much worse than what I used to complain about when I was a kid, and a young man. But it just seems like the times are right to every now and then to really let your hair down and forget about. We can't have our faces pressed to that grindstone all the time. We'll go mad, won't we, if we do?
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So that's going to be. Terence was, he didn't need much encouragement to get his shirt off and come and dance for that weekend. So I think that's going to be quite the spectacle and hopefully an attraction as part of the weekend. And
it'll be okay if he can repair his. I don't know whether this is rib or his hip that he's thrown out.
Really?
So, yes, he walked into his rib. He's limping around at the moment like a deflated balloon.
I shouldn't laugh. Right? Okay.
Oh, that's horrible. There's nothing you can do about your rib. You can't. You can't kind of like strap it or anything, can you? It's horrible.
Really?
Oh, and if you've got a cough, if you've got a tosser, it's terrible. You always get a puncture your lung. It's awful. Poor Terence.
He's a professional. He's a trooper. I don't think he's going to let that get in his way. He'll probably have a couple of glugs of Buckfast tonic and onto the day.
A bit of horse liniment to be all right.
Absolutely, a rub down. Nice idea, Cole. Come on, OLP. You know where we'll be then on the 15th. We've had our first light coating of white stuff tonight. Now that can be taken many ways, can it not? I'm guessing snow. I'm going to go with snow.
I never thought about that. I was a bit slow there. The pennies dropped.
And village people come back. I'm up for it. Definitely. Okay, brilliant. Although, there's a bloody Village People song we can't play now without there being a massive triggering event. But anyway, we'll work around all of that. Don't worry, everybody. It's going to be fine. I'm every woman. That's not going to be politically difficult, is it? Anyway, we'll figure it out. It'll be the making of us. Right. Okay. Any other business, folks? What are we doing next month?
No idea.
No idea. That's honest.
Absolutely no idea.
In fact, we haven't gone back to the Whitby household for final words, have we? Come on, we'll conclude with you cheesemongers.
Well, I was hoping you wouldn't come back to us because I think we're away all next year.
Oh, next year?
No, we're not.
Because of karaoke and disco. So,
I wouldn't miss disco for the world. Look how old I am. I invented disco.
We have a disco ball.
Can he throw some shapes? Can Michael throw some shapes?
Yeah, go.
What's that?
No, not now. You don't have to do it now.
We can, but it's getting him untangled afterwards. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'll have to keep
There
you go.
We will have paramedics and chiropractors standing by as well.
Good idea.
You might need them.
Yes. Okay. So, concluding thoughts then. Those fresh from the cheese festival with the coffee in hand.
We just had a great
fun time.
We had a fun time up there. It was just, we were only there for about 4 hours, but it's a really nice city. It was a great drive. We came back down the Mondego River all the way alongside the river on the north side. And if anybody hasn't done that, it's just a great drive.
Absolutely spectacular.
All the way into Coimbra.
Yeah.
That sounds fabulous. Yeah.
Well, it is. It's a fabulous drive. It stays right on the cliff on the river all the way down. In fact, we have an electric car. And when we started up at the top, when we came off the N2 and dropped in at Penacova.
Lovely.
We down to the very bottom in Coimbra. We had more power than when we started with.
I love doing that. We do that when we go up to the top of the Estrella. We always come back with more power afterwards. It's great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
That's what Brummies do coming down Telegraph Hill in Devon. They put the foot, clutch down and end up with a bit more petrol than when they started.
I don't think it works that way.
Is it not? Not even if you get to Plymouth, based on that basis. Right.
No,
okay.
It was a nice weekend and the weather was nice, which was great.
Oh, good for you.
Tomorrow it's back to painting the inside of the house still. So
Indoor trips.
Good luck with that. Well, yes. Well, luckily it's indoor, and you got to meet the enigmatic Hugh Forestier Walker as well, didn't you? So
yeah, we met Hugh and Jane and a couple of
other Brits,
several other expats that were there, and some of them being there longer than Hugh has. The one guy we were talking to, he'd been there 25 years. And can't remember his name.
Moses. Not many people have been there longer than Hugh. So I hear this is
my Moses guy, and he looked. But you know what? He still looks. He'll never pass for a Portuguese.
Hugh?
I mean, no, this other guy. I mean, he's been here 25 years, and no matter how you dress, you're never going to be a Portuguese.
Yeah.
Might be the Union Jack T-shirt that gave him away.
Yeah. Bacon butty in his hand. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, well, OLP says, look, next month's only 2 weeks away. OLP, you could set us a challenge. You're coming to Portugal, and you could say, what would you like to know about Portuguese wine? And set us a bit of an assignment, OLP. We'd be glad to hear that. Yeah. You were asking about Thanksgiving and whether that's a thing. It's increasingly a thing here in Portugal. It's not a Portuguese thing, but more and more people are celebrating Thanksgiving. Johnny, are you going to a Thanksgiving thing in Tavira, or are you not bothering with such things?
No, I'm doing that with part of my community here.
Great. Excellent. So it is a thing in Tavira, yeah?
Well, it's a thing in my part of Tavira. I can't speak for all of Tavira.
Okay, not yet. You can't. Okay, one day, Johnny. One day.
I've got an idea there, Carl. What we do, or I was recommending to someone else the other day, is instead of giving like a tip to anyone that delivers out in the middle of nowhere, I found out the Portuguese phrase for the middle of nowhere is "in Judas's arse," which I think is great. Right. So what we do is we tend to give wine out to people because it's much cheaper than giving like a €10 tip, and we've got loads of really good wines sometimes under €2, but definitely under €3. And I think it might be quite a nice challenge if we all tried to get a decent wine under €3. I suppose would be quite a good one for us. So just because there's loads of brilliant wines that are not expensive at all, and I think all of you could easily do that challenge just to see if we could get something decent between us.
Not spending more than €3, the less than €3 challenge. How about that?
I think that might be quite a good idea. There's lots out there.
Yeah,
and you can get some really nice offers. So
all right, we'll call it the Judas's Arse Special, and that's what we'll do. Best wines under €3. That's a great idea, and I'm sure OLP will find a robust red for under $3 as well.
The reds are brilliant.
Yeah, Portugal's all about the red, really. So I'm sure we can do you proud on that. Great idea, Pete. We'll carry that forward. We'll play the outro now, and we'll have a bit of a lock-in afterwards. Great job, folks. Well done tonight, and we'll see you again. Hopefully the first Monday of next month, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Things are a little fluid at the moment. So thank you very much, Pete and Diane, Garvo and Linda, and to you, Michael and Kat, and Johnny Cocktail.
Good night, all.
The president-elect of Tavira, or soon to be.
There you go.